The million-dollar question that changed everything. When Jude Bellingham walked into Birmingham City's training ground as a 16-year-old, scouts whispered the same question that would echo through football corridors for years. How is someone this young already thinking like a 30-year-old captain? What happened next would rewrite the rulebook on how football careers should unfold. The night that rewrote history books, June 22, 2020. While most teenagers were playing video games in lockdown, Jude Bellingham was making his championship debut against Charlton Athletic. But here's what nobody saw coming. This wasn't just another young player getting a chance. Within weeks, Europe's biggest clubs were in a bidding war that would reach astronomical figures, all because of what they witnessed in those 90 minutes when football resumed. The phone call that shocked Germany, when Borussia Dortmund's sporting director called Birmingham City with a $25 million offer for a teenager with just 44 professional appearances. Even they thought it was madness. But Bellingham had already done something unprecedented. He'd convinced one of Europe's most prestigious clubs that age was just a number. The German giants had seen enough to know they weren't buying potential. They were buying a ready-made superstar. The Bundesliga explosion nobody predicted September 14, 2020. Bellingham's Bundesliga debut wasn't supposed to be anything special, just another English youngster trying to adapt to German football. Instead, he became the youngest English player ever to score in the Bundesliga, leaving veterans twice his age wondering how this teenager was already orchestrating games like a seasoned general commanding his troops. The Champions League statement that silenced doubters. While other 17-year-olds were worried about school exams, Bellingham was facing Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League knockout stages. The football world held its breath, expecting nerves to finally catch up with the young Englishman. What they got instead was a masterclass in composure that had Neymar and Mbappé looking like the nervous ones. The World Cup moment that broke records. Qatar, 2022. England's youngest ever World Cup player wasn't content with just participating. He had his sights set on history. When that header found the net against Iran, Bellingham didn't just score England's first goal of the tournament. He became the youngest English scorer at a World Cup, surpassing Michael Owen's record with a celebration that told the world he was just getting started. The Real Madrid gamble. Worth $103 million. Summer 2023. Real Madrid had just won the Champions League, but they were willing to spend more money on Jude Bellingham than they'd spent on most established superstars. The pressure was suffocating. How do you justify that price tag for someone who'd never played in Spain? Bellingham's answer came in his very first El Clasico, where he didn't just play against Barcelona, he dominated them. The season that defied all logic. 2023-24 was supposed to be Bellingham's adaptation year at Real Madrid. Instead, he scored 23 goals from midfield, won La Liga, and lifted the Champions League trophy while teammates who'd been at the club for years watched in amazement. At 20 years old, he'd already achieved what most players dream of their entire careers. But the most incredible part? He was making it look effortless. The leadership that leaves veterans speechless. Today, when Real Madrid captain Luka Modric speaks about Bellingham, there's genuine awe in his voice. Here's a player who arrived in Madrid as a 20-year-old and immediately started giving tactical instructions to Champions League winners. The Croatian legend, with 5 Ballon d'Or nominations, admits he's never seen anything like Bellingham's natural authority on the pitch. The future that has football, holding its breath. As Bellingham enters his prime years, the question isn't whether he'll become one of the greatest players of his generation. It's how many records he'll shatter along the way. From that 16-year-old who walked into Birmingham City's training ground to the 21-year-old who already has Europe at his feet, Jude Bellingham's journey proves that when exceptional talent meets unwavering determination and perfect timing, the impossible becomes inevitable. The boy who was too young to be this good has become the man who's redefining what greatness looks like in modern football.